I think we've come to, hopefully, to the place where they filmed some of this. This is where Captain Kirk fell down into the valley. So this is it. Take a close look so we can compare it to the movie scenes. So they were fighting across here. And this is the big wall over here. And the characteristic landmark is the rock outcropping, which I believe is that. Now let's look at this closely, because when we compare them to the pictures. So this is the uphill slope of this silica. And one thing that sticks out is a rock like this one here, because it has that point on the end, like some kind of a lizard head right there. And then on the hill, we should be able to match up these little openings in the silica. Using physical landmarks, this is just to show that this indeed was the hill or dome that was used when the movie was being made. Compare this to the actual movie photograph. Poor Kirk, they had him and the bad guy and Spock fighting on this little metal bridge. Now, if they had a bridge here, they must have dug around here where Justin found those supports. What they'll look like is maybe a tiny piece of metal with some cement around it that was used to support all the structures. Like right here, maybe. And they might have covered that up right there. because that looks unnatural. So there might have been, oh, there's one right here. That's definitely metal that has been cut off, and then some, I don't know, glue or silicone placed in there. So this was the site. In fact, the fight between Soran and Picard occurred near the top of the silica dome, as can be seen in this photograph from the movie. This is proven by the fact that that little tree is seen at the gravesite of Captain Kirk, which is at the top of the silica dome, and the fact that in this next photograph, the platform at the very top of the silica dome is shown to be in the background of the fight scene. Now, if this is the hill, then the mothership was right, well, the ship didn't come, but the scaffold was right there. And we'll take a look at that in the other photos. And I wouldn't venture out there either, because you never know when these pieces of rock are going to fall off. So I'm going to get this close and let the camera do the rest. This far. And you can see for yourself, that's quite a tumble for old Captain Kirk. And let's see. So down in there is Captain Kirk's grave, and you are welcome to go down there, but I am not. This peak, which I call the Leaning Tower of Silica, is being shown here simply to add additional proof to the fact that the film was made at this site. This is the view from the end of the official Silica Dome trail, which ends in an abrupt drop-off down into a deep canyon. We know that somewhere near the bottom of this canyon, Captain Kirk met his fate when a scaffold fell from the side of this hill to the left, causing him to plummet down into the canyon. The question here is, where was that scaffold located? This is a scene from the movie which shows the metal scaffolding and a platform, which is the one from which Captain Kirk fell. At this point, you can see that the scaffolding has been disrupted by Soran's laser gun, And Captain Kirk at this point is trying to jump across to the other half in order to retrieve the rocket launch controller device. In order to make your hike to the end of the Silica Dome Trail more interesting, let's take a look at some of the landmarks of where the scaffold and platform were in the movie compared to the way it looks today in the bottom photograph. First of all, let's look at some of the background areas. This I call rock number 1, which can easily be seen here as well as in my photograph. The photographs, of course, are not done at the same angle because it's very hard to produce that, because often in movies they're hanging cameras off of cliffs and doing weird things with camera angles, but this is fairly close and will suffice. Also, look at the pyramid rock down here in the valley. At least I call that pyramid rock. And you can see it right here in my photograph. Now, let's look at some of the landmarks on the Silica Dome wall. The first thing that attracts your attention is this effaced area here. And that still exists today. Here it is here. Next, you'll see this rock comes down to almost where the platform was. And this is that rock right here. So we know that the platform probably came across the wall at this level here. The platform broke off in this little recessed area here, or cleavage. And this is the cleavage area here, right there. So we know that Captain Kirk fell from that point and down into the canyon. If you want some other landmarks, this rock here I can show on my photograph, which is right there. The other thing I wanted to point out, there's this platform here in the movie photo. And you can see how the platform extends out from the wall. So this is the proximal side of the platform right here. And the supports come down to this ledge, which is, for want of a better name, ledge number 1. On my photo, this is where the proximal edge of the platform would be, and it would extend out, and the supports would go down to ledge number 1. That's ledge number 1. Ledge number 2 is just below that, and you can see in the picture here this little rock, and that is duplicated in mine right there. So this is ledge number 2, extending from that rock on down to where Captain Kirk slid down the side of the canyon. Diagrammatically, the movie scene can be shown here. This is that slanted rock that leads to about the level of the scaffold. Scaffold comes across here. This is the cleavage in the rock where the scaffold broke off, as shown by the line here. And eventually this fell down into the canyon. This is where Picard and Captain Kirk were at first. And then Captain Kirk jumped over here to get that control device. And then this portion fell into the canyon. This is the platform that extended out from the wall to ledge number 1, and this is the support. And this is a better view of ledge number 2 with that rock on the end, and this is the ledge portion. Again, you can see the effaced circular area of rock here and this area here. And that's about it for this. Also, my leaning tower of silica is also noted here. I am not certain how well this superimposed movie shot over the photograph that I took when I visited the Silica Dome works, but I tried to place the scaffolding in the position that it was in the movie based upon rock number 1 out here that has the pyramid rock below. I just resized the movie clip until it would just about fit over there so that you could get an idea when you're standing at the edge of the cliff where the platform extended. There's that slanted rock again. This is the effaced circular area. The platform is resting on ledge number 1, and just below that is the little rock which signifies ledge number 2. And of course over here the leaning tower of silica, which is a good benchmark as to where you are in the canyon. So now you know where that platform was. And this leads to a discussion of where Captain Kirk fell to his death, the actual site of the death. In the movie, this is the site where Captain Kirk died. One might ask, can this site be located at the present time? I believe that I have found the actual site of Captain Kirk's demise. When you look over the edge of this draw or canyon, I believe that Captain Kirk's demise was somewhere down here. And luckily, with some of the photographs, I was able to capture the exact site. Now, as you will recall, in this scene in the movie, Captain Kirk was trying to play the macho man, and even though the scaffolding had broken at this point, his plan was to jump from here over to here and gain control of the rocket launcher control. So he jumped over to here and did prevent the rocket from doing damage. However, this whole scaffolding broke off here and fell down into the canyon down here. When you look at where the broken portion of the scaffolding was, it was about in this area here. And that broke off and slid down the side of the canyon wall and nestled itself somewhere in here. Now, from my camera angles, I could not detect the exact spot where he fell. But fortunately, in the movie scene, they showed a portion of the ground that contained an interesting assortment of rocks. And as it turns out, these were the rocks. So I proposed to take a close-up of these rocks down here and see if they could lead me to the actual place where Kirk died. On this close-up, these are the rocks in question. And I believe that they, in turn, show us where Kirk actually crashed and was crushed by the scaffolding, which is right in this depression here. How do we know that? This is the fallen scaffolding here. And if you look closely, you'll see Kirk right there in the process of dying. However, look at these rocks here. If this indeed is where Kirk landed, then following the path of these rocks should lead us to here. The process of following the rocks to Captain Kirk's death site is more easily appreciated with a side-by-side comparison. So in the movie clip, this rock is somewhat balanced on a slight ledge. So we'll call that rock number 1. And the same rock down below is here. Make that number 1. The next rock over is number 2. And the same rock in the photo is right here. Then there is this cuboidal rock, number 3, which is right here. And finally, this one, number 4. And in my view, because in the motion picture, the camera angles are different from what I could get, you can just see a part of rock number 4 down here. However, there is another rock formation that will help you, and this is number 5. As you can see, there's this rock leaning on this rock and a small rock in front of it. And that is noted on the photograph right here. So, using some trajectory, if we leave number 5 and come straight down, bingo, we get to the accident scene. So in the drawing here, in the photograph, if you leave rock 5 and come straight down, you come to this depression in the rock. And I believe that this is the site where Captain Kirk met his end. Hopefully, Jay Silverheels, who knows this area very well, can comment on this and give his okay that this is indeed the site. We shall see. Well, now it's time to return. This has really been an interesting hike. So say goodbye to Captain Kirk.